Hi, I'm Michael Josephson, president of Character Counts, and we're here in the home of Coach John Wooden, where he's graciously consented to talk a little bit about the Pursuing Victory with Honor campaign that he was much a part of starting, and also about the concept of the teacher coach. Coach, when originally we approached you about being involved in the whole Pursuing Victory with Honor campaign, and when you later became involved in establishing the principles, what did you hope could be accomplished by this sort of endeavor?
Well, Michael, first of all, it's always nice to be with you, and I'm sorry that I can't be with you in person here, but I am happy to be able to be present in this manner. I also would like to express my appreciation and thanks to Senators Domenici and Dodd for their interest and help in pursuing this Victory with Honor program, because it is a most worthwhile program. Now, when you first approached me about that, I thought something of that is very definitely needed, and I was impressed with it from the very beginning, because I think there's entirely too much emphasis throughout all sports today. It's starting at a very low level, even before they're in school, by putting pressure on youngsters just thinking they have to win, just win, and they're more concerned on winning more so than how you win. And I've been concerned about that, and anything that we could do to help, I think, would be a very worthwhile program.
Well, one of the major contributions you made during the discussions was to suggest the idea that a coach is first and foremost a teacher. What did you mean by that, and why is that an important concept to you, the teacher coach?
Well, really, that's all a coach is. He's teaching a sport. I taught for many years prior to coming to UCLA. I always taught English, and I followed the 4 laws of learning in English, and I followed the 4 laws of learning in sports, whatever sport I was teaching. And that's all you are, is really a teacher. And I think a teacher has to be more concerned, I think, about the entire overall learning process of those under his or her supervision than you do just in sports. I know it's sort of easy to get carried away just on that one-loss percentage, but in teaching, and I was a little disappointed that some parents in my early years of teaching felt that they were more interested in the A or B than they were how much the youngster might learn. And not everybody could earn an A or B, and yet they were, in my opinion, many that didn't were just as successful as some that did.
Can coaches today really afford to be a teacher coach in a world that treasures winning so much, even at the high school level, even below that? Can they really be more concerned with developing the athlete than they are with performing?
I don't think they can afford not to, really. If we want to save athletics for the future, I think it must become that. And it concerns me that we're getting away a little bit from the student athlete and making it the athlete student. And I'm for sports. I think sports do wonderful things and are of tremendous help, but they must be used in the proper perspective. In school, sports are just an extracurricular activity. That's all. Now, I'm not talking about professional sports. That's a different thing, where they're making their living out of it. But I think that coaches in schools, at whatever level they are, they're teachers.
Now, of course, people can say that's not that hard for you to say. You won 10 NCAA championships. You were a winner all your life, so you were able to integrate the two. In what way did your attitude about being a teacher affect the way you went about preparing your athletes? And did it impede or did it enhance your ability to be victorious?
I think it made me a better teacher of sports for the fact that I taught English for a lot. It helped me to organize my time better, and it taught me more the importance of paying attention to each individual and knowing that I had to work with each individual a little bit different, because no two are identical. Your students, no two are identical. Your athletes, no two are identical. They're alike in many respects, that they're not identical. And part of your obligation is to analyze each individual under your supervision and try to help them in the way that you can, and that won't be the same because they are all different.
Well, I remember vividly when we were preparing this Pursuing Victory with Honor document that you were being interviewed by Bob Costas, and he asked you about retiring your last game, and you said you remember vividly the last game you ever taught. How does that play in? What does it mean to teach a game?
Amos Alonzo Stagg, many years ago, but one time the University of Chicago was a power in football, and Coach Stagg was there, and after one very successful season from the won and lost point of view, and that's what most people consider a successful season is concerned, a reporter said, well, is this your most successful season, Coach? And he said, I won't know for 25 or 30 years. And I think that's the way it should be. I think that you have to be concerned at what's going to happen to them later. How you can help them in other ways, just in the execution of the fundamentals of the sport. Of course, that's your job, and you can do it. But it can be done in a way that's also helping them develop in other ways that are going to be meaningful forever. I've said that, in my opinion, that sports are kind of like passion, and that's kind of sort of temporary in many cases. But academics, that's like true love, and that's enduring.
We're in your home, and it is full with literally hundreds and hundreds of mementos of all of your various pieces of your career, including a lot of victories and pictures of victories. Which are the mementos that you treasure the most, and why?
Well, of any of the awards that I've received, the Big Ten medal, the academic medal, if given to an athlete without a graduating athlete with outstanding grade, that means more to me than any other award that I've received, because any other came because with the help of so many others. Now, your academics, I think you earn that pretty much. Oh, you're going to have help from different people, of course, but it's a little different than let's say an athlete that becomes an All-American. You better have some pretty good teammates or he's not going to be seen, and you better have a pretty good teacher too. So those things, and then the letters and the things that I have from my players, and my players know I like poetry, and many of them write me poems, and one has written me well over 100 poems, and there's not too much about the basketball. They write them about the other things that they learned, and that pleases me, and I get joy out of that.
Just as a last thing, one of the things we want to do is develop awards for coaches or teacher coaches. Is there anything you can say to volunteer coaches, coaches of youth, or coaches in high school that could encourage them to look at how much bigger their impact could be if they coached in the way that you're talking about?
Well, remember, these under your supervision, they're the future. They're the future, and the better you can get them to accept the things that are going to be more important than just their knowledge of the sports, the more you're helping. And you can do both. I truly believe you can be both, and so much can be done by how you lead. I know way back in my early years of teaching, I ran across a couple of things that made a great impression on me. One said, no written word, no spoken plea can teach our youth what they should be, nor all the books on all the shelves. It's what the teachers are themselves. And it is what you are. You're setting an example. And these youngsters under your supervision, it's true in sports, they're in the public eye. And it's important that you teach them to conduct themselves in such a way that will be helpful to those that will see them and observe them. And that will almost always be the younger people. So that's very important. And like a coach is like the teacher who once was asked why she taught, and you've probably heard this, Michael. She said, they ask me why I teach, and I reply, where could I find such splendid company? There sits a statesman, strong, unbiased, wise, another later Webster, silver-tongued, and there a doctor who steady hand can mend a bone or stem a lifeblood's flow. The builder sits beside him, up and rise the arches of that church he builds, wherein that minister may speak the word of God and lead the stumbling soul to touch of Christ. And all about teachers and laborers and merchants and nurses and those who work and vote and build and plan and pray into a great tomorrow. And I may say, I may not eat the food, their hands may grow or hear the word, but yet again I may. And later I may say, I knew him once, and he was weak, or strong or bold or proud or gay. I knew him once, but then he was a boy. You ask me why I teach, and I reply, where could I find such splendid company? You have those under your supervision that are going to go out into all different professions, and a lot of what they do, you can have helped or hurt. And it's up to you to do the right thing.
Coach, thank you for your splendid company, and thank you for your wonderful example. You know, Henry Adams said, a teacher affects all eternity. You never know where his influence stops, and you're affecting all eternity, and we hope we can do even more with pursuing victory with honor. Thank you very much, Coach.
You're very welcome, Michael.